Right, can we start with the salawat, please? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay, I'm not even going to ask you to say it again. So. 15th night, my goodness, halfway through. But what's more important is that we haven't got long for the last 10 days. And we really got to start preparing. But before that, because today or tonight is a phenomenal occasion, and the birth of Imam Hassan, I'd like to talk about it. It's just phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Often, we don't sort of talk about him too much. Tends to get sidelined a bit. And he was just something else. So let's start. You've got a circle there. You can look at that later. But in your head, I want you to think 7, 37, 47. Can you do that? Okay, so 7, 37, 47. Okay, I know this may say 8 and 37 and 46, but I'm just going to, in your head, divide his life into 3. The first thing you've got to know about Imam Hassan is that he's the Prophet's first grandchild. And when he was born on the 15th of Ramadan, the Prophet suddenly had a spring in his step. Kind of know how he feels. I'm a grandma, and I know when my first grandchild was born. My goodness. Even when the last one, well, I hope that's not the last. When the 9th one was born, you sort of, it is a different feeling altogether. And you understand what that means. There's just so much joy in seeing these little things, right? I'm not sure when they grow up it's the same thing. But anyway, when you see them when they're little, it's amazing. So the Prophet had this spring in his step. And everybody said, what are you going to call him? What you going to call him? Remember, normally, you ask the mom and dad. But because this is the Prophet of God. And he said, because Ali is like to me as Harun was to Musa. And Harun's 2 sons were called Shabbar and Shubair. He will be called Shabbar, which in Arabic is Hassan. It's a beautiful name. I mean, I wish I had lots of sons. Definitely one of them would be Hassan, right? I have a son-in-law who's Hassan. It's just lovely. Just calling him just makes your heart smile. It's one of the most beautiful names around. So Hassan is good. And the Prophet immediately said, Hassanu minni wa ana minal Hassan. We normally know Husaynu minni wa ana minal Hussein. Said the same thing about Imam Hassan. And he also said, Ahabballah man ahabbahu. Allah loves the one who loves him. I'm going to, for a minute, pause, because often in life, we say we love people. But when you love someone, you need to know a lot about them. And love is not only spouses or moms and dads and I don't know, whatever you call it. I mean, the Masumin, there has to be a sense of love. There has to be a sense of finding out, who was he? What was his life all about? And that's why I said 7, 37, 47, right? So if you look at here, about 7, you see that is the death of his grandfather and his mom. These are significant places. At 7 also you have the event of Ghadir. So he's seen his father being taken up as the first imam. And then you have 37 and 47. 37, you have the martyrdom of his father, which we will commemorate on the 21st of Ramadan. And then 47, that's how long he lived. So if in your head you go 7, 37, 47, significant places in his life, okay? Imam Hassan was a phenomenal human being, absolutely phenomenal. And most of his life, can I have the next slide please so you can actually see it? Most of his life is known by the way his akhlaq was, okay? So maybe that slide, okay. So if you look at the way he behaved, that's how he was. First of all, you will find, especially my generation, that when it's Imam Hassan's wiladat, they wear green. When it's Imam Hussein's wiladat, they wear red. Do you see that? Or not? Okay, lots of people do that. And sometimes the philosophy is that because Imam Hassan was poisoned and Imam Hussein was martyred, that's why it's green and red. It's not like that. In Nafasul Mahmoon, we find a hadith which says that Jibreel brought clothes for Imam Hassan and Hussein. And Imam Hassan chose green and Imam Hussein chose red. And it's really nice. Oh, by the way, I'm going to pause here. In this tradition we have, in the country we live in, boys wear blue and girls wear pink. Yes? If you put boys and girls in blue are all right, but if you put a boy in pink, and I've got twin grandchildren, one's a boy, one's a girl, Yunus and Safina, and I can only I can tell the difference. But if one is got the wrong blanket, I swap them over. You know where that came from? Came from the Greeks. The Greeks said that boys were heavenly. It was a grace. It was a heavenly present from God. That's why they were blue. And girls were a sacrifice. That's why they were red and pink. You'll never put them in pink, will you? You put them in blue. The Prophet said green and yellow. Green, actually, it's phenomenal. Blue for knowledge. So all right, I put my daughters in pink as well. I'm just telling you, when you learn, you want the rooms to be blue because blue enhances knowledge. So make sure you have blue around them. That's color therapy, by the way. Green encourages any child to be able to regenerate, restart. It's like spring. The Prophet used to love green. That's why the color for Islam is green. Yellow brings happiness. So if you put kids in yellow and you put yellow around them, sunflowers around them, they will be happier than normal. Unless you don't want them to be too happy. Okay, so up to you. Anyway, so green and red was basically because of that. There is also another hadith which says that Imam Hassan and Hussein were with the Prophet and he had put them on his shoulders. So he was actually carrying them. And one was wearing red and one was wearing green. And they asked him, why, Ya Rasulullah, is one wearing red and one wearing green? He said, because Hassan will fight to restore peace. And Hussein will sacrifice for the cause of Islam. So there are various ahadith based on red and green. That's quite cute. But let's look at some of his akhlaq, and you've got them written up there. People would actually get iftar or food together, especially when they saw Imam Hassan, because they wanted him to sit with them. And he would. Especially the people on the streets. They would actually look for scraps of food and they'll say, please come and sit with us. It was one of the most awesome things to do, to go and sit with people. When he stood for wudu, he used to tremble. And they used to say, well, what's wrong? Why are you trembling? And he'd say, I'm going to stand in front of my Creator. Sometimes when I read this, I think, when I go to do wudu, it's like, quickly, face, hands, out. And then I pause to think, and I think, let's go back again. I don't know whether you have the du'as for wudu in your bathroom, but many years ago, we did it for you to match your bathrooms, because you didn't want white ones in your bathroom. I don't know what color your tiles are, but we actually matched it to your tiles. You want them again? Shout, and we'll sort them out for you, right? There's a wonderful incident of one of the people who was serving him dropping hot soup on his lap. And not only did he say, it's okay, he said, you're a slave, I'm freeing you. And everybody said, but she just did something wrong. And Imam quoted the ayah of Surah Al-Imran, which is 134, where Allah says, and those who swallow anger and forgive human beings, Allah loves the muhsinin. So literally, to be able to not make somebody feel awkward is what Imam used to do. Whenever he recited Quran, there would be a traffic jam outside his house. Okay, not cars, okay? Camels and horses and whatever you want to say. But if you can imagine that people, when they heard him, they just stopped. Today, it's akin to if you're driving and there's an accident, you find people slow down because they want to see what's going on. Well, here, when they heard his voice, they just stopped. That is why it's so awesome when you hear the children. We heard the children recite dua today. I mean, it just makes you... It brings the heart somewhere. It's just amazing. And whenever he heard the ayah, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, he would say, Labbaik Allahumma labbaik. Now most of us only recite this in Hajj. So homework for you, maybe when you get some time. Open your Quran. Okay, go to Google. It'll tell you where they are. Go to every ayah that begins with Ya ayyuhan nas, oh human beings. There's not that many. Go through them. Make a tick box. Do I follow all of those? And then when you finish those, then look at all of those that start with Ya ayyuhalladhina Amanu. So I can tell you a tick box that you can put. One of them in Surah Al-Baqarah is Kutiba alaykum as-siyam kama kutiba ala alladhina min qablikum la'allakum tattaqun. Fasting was ordained for you as it was ordained for those before you, so that you may become God conscious. At least you can put a tick on that. Put it on your fridge. Stick tick boxes and then put little ticks on. I think somewhere we've got these written out, and you can put ticks on them if you don't want to do it yourself. He walked, so he was a good walker. He walked to Hajj from Medina to Makkah at least 20 or 25 times. The Prophet used to say that whenever I'm sad, I go for a walk. They didn't have treadmills then, but I'm sure it's the same thing. Walk. I mentioned to you that one of the things that would be good to do for Laylatul Qadr, and you and I will do that, is have a piece of paper, fold it in 4, and put physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. One of the physical things, I've been saying this for a while since the beginning, is that you want to be, as my mother's told me, as my generation will say, the generation above me will say, you don't want muhtaji. Do you know what muhtaji means? You don't want to be reliant on somebody else. And the only way that's going to happen is if you move. Don't become couch potatoes. Run with your kids. It's not about size. It really doesn't matter whether you're a 16 or 18 or a 14 or a 12 or a 10. It doesn't matter. What matters is if you are fit enough. Every single Ma'soom tells you this. So one of the aspirations for Laylatul Qadr should be that when I'm 60, I'm 64 by the way. Hi. So now 60, 70, 80, and I did climb a mountain a month ago. That's Kilimanjaro, okay? So when you are that sort of age, you want to be able to do that. You just want to. And this comes from the aspiration written down on Laylatul Qadr. Some testament to it. It's hard work. It's not easy. But at least walk, okay? All right, so he walked 20 to 25 Hajj. He led the army in the battle of Jamal and Siffin. But the nice thing about it, these two, in Swahili we say pete na kidole. Do you know Swahili at all? No. Pete na kidole, this is a ring and this is a finger. Kidole is a finger and pete is a ring. So Imam Hassan and Hussein were like the ring and the finger. You can't have a ring without a finger. And you can't have a finger. Well, you can, but you know, it's a bit sad if you had a ring on one place and a finger on one place. You got to put them together, right? So they are known as Shabab Ahlul Jannah. They're the youths of paradise. So in your aspirations, especially your aspirations for your children, you want them to be like Shabab Ahlul Jannah. But the only way they can be like them is if you know about them and then you can instill it into them. When he was born, it was like joy in the house. He was a big brother. So if you look at the house of Fatima, besides being big brother to Imam Hussein, he was big brother to Muhammad ibn Abu Bakr. You know, Muhammad ibn Abu Bakr was brought to the house of Imam Ali. It's another story altogether, right? You all know, you don't know, but we'll go into that. And then you had the 4 sons of Ummulbanin, Jafar, Uthman, Abdullah, and Abbas. So Imam Hassan was their big brother. He actually looked after them. If you've been to Iraq, you may have visited the house of Sayyidah Fatima. Did you ever go to that? And when you go to the house, and for a minute you sit there, you see the rooms of the children. And you can imagine this big brother, I don't know whether they had bunk beds at that time. Maybe they had mattresses laid out. It must have been so much fun. I mean, with a big brother like that. But one of the names of Imam Hassan is Karim Ali Muhammad. You know what yesterday, the reason why I brought it up, and it was in Dua Mujir, is because Karim means the one who is generous. Now tonight is his birthday, because in Islam the night comes before the day. For God's sakes, ask him. Ask Allah in the name of Imam Hassan. You are the generous one. Allah is Kareem. He is Kareem, right? So you say, Ya Allah, or you who are Kareem, I ask you in the name of Kareem Ali Muhammad, the one who is generous, who actually, in other words, embodied your akhlaq in being generous, and ask him for whatever you want. That's what wasila is all about. It's not about anything else. I've been saying this story for the last 30 years, and I will repeat it again, so you understand where I'm coming from. I have a friend. She's still my friend. She's not here, though. I can't see her daughter, son. I mean, sons obviously don't come. I'm seeing her daughter. Anyway, so she is one of those people who used to go to Sham, to Damascus, every single year. In fact, she'd go twice a year, and I'd be so jelly. Jelly means jealous, by the way. Envious, not jealous. Okay, because I wanted her to go. So I'd be so jelly because I wanted to go as well. And one day she came back, and she said, do you know what I saw there? And every day she'd tell me a different story about what happened. You know what happened? She said, this man came. And have you been to Damascus? The wall between the men and women is quite small. Have you seen it? I don't know what it is like now. But even when I went, the wall was quite small. You can see the men on the other side. So she said, this man comes, dumps his suitcases, and he says, Sayyida, I've come. I've come with Aeroflot now. I know your journey from Karbala to Kufa to Sham was so difficult, but mine on Aeroflot, 24 hours I got here. And I've just come here to tell you I'm stuck, really stuck. Wife's left me, business has gone, children gone, she's taken them. I got nothing. The last money I had, I spent to come and see you because they tell me that you answer hajat. And she told me, when she told me, she said, this man had no akhlaq. He didn't read this long ziyarah. He's just coming and talking to Sayyida as though she's just an ordinary person. And she said, people like that. And we forgot about it, and we thought, okay, that must be there. And I remember talking to Marhum Alaskar, and he said, that's how you're supposed to talk to God. You're supposed to talk to him from the bottom of your heart. A year later, because she goes every year, I don't know whether she still goes or not, but she goes every year. And she said, guess who I saw? And I said, George Clooney. And she said, no. I said, who did you see? She said, that man. He came back again. And he did exactly the same thing. But this time he said, they're all sorted. I've actually come to say thank you. Wife's back, children's back, business booming, all good. I'm back here. And this time I came on business class. And she said, oh my goodness. And that is how you talk to God. Ya Kareem, I ask you in the name of Kareem Ahlul, Ali Muhammad, that says, or Ahlul Bayt, and ask him. Ask him from the bottom of your heart. Sit on your musalla. I say that because the musalla used to be there. Sit on your musalla and ask. That's what Laylatul Qadr is about. It changes destinies. We'll talk about it. We have some time, otherwise tomorrow. There was a man, and you probably got it somewhere here. Anyway, there's a man who came from Syria, and he was abusing Imam Ali. Now you imagine, Imam Ali is his dad. Imam is the Imam of the time. He's abusing him. And Imam Hassan said, you look so tired. You really look tired. You know what? Why don't you come home? Let's eat. Let's drink. Have a bit of a rest. And then we'll have a chat. And then you talk about what you want to. You know, all this thing you've got pent up inside you, we'll sort that out later. When he left Imam Hassan's house, he tells Imam Hassan, and all the companions are listening, I arrived in Medina as the worst of your enemies. I hated you. But I leave as your admirers because of your character. Now for you and me, these are lessons from Imam Hassan's life. What do you and I do? Do I take it a step further? Am I able to embody that? I think of Imam Sajjad, same line, no difference. So Imam Sajjad is walking in Medina. And Hussein ibn Namir, his name is. And Imam sees him. And Imam says, God, you look like a stranger. I haven't seen you around. Come, let's go home. I get you something to eat, drink. And he started shaking. And Imam said, what's the matter? Let's go home. He said, you don't know who I am. Imam said, I know who you are. You killed my brother. You killed Ali Akbar. But right now, we're not in a court of law. Right now, you are a refugee in this town who needs some help. So you will come home. I will give you some help. And then when you're in a court of law, they will sort out everything. Tell me how many of us can even do that to somebody who said something about us. We just walk past. Forget about somebody killing a brother. I mean, that is huge. Absolutely huge. But somebody actually comes and tells you, she said this, and then you look at her with those eyes and you say, Nick, and talk to you again. It's not happening. It's not how it works. That's not followers of the Ahlul Bayt. When somebody came to Imam Zainul Abidin and said, we are your followers. And he said, what do you do when you get something? Say, oh, we're so happy, alhamdulillah, shukrillah. What do you do when something is taken away? We vent a bit. No, we're okay. What do you do when nothing comes your way? We just walk around. Hope things will get better. He said, well, the dogs of Medina are like that. When you give them something, they bark and they wag their tail. When something's taken away, they get really angry and they bark. And when they don't get anything, they just walk the streets of Medina. Our Shias are those who say, Alhamdulillah, when something is given, when something is taken away, and when something is not given. Because there is always some goodness somewhere. Okay, so that is the character of Imam Hassan. Absolutely phenomenal personality. But I'd like to go to Laylatul Qadr. Before I go there, just one thing. You still got a little bit of time to read Dua al-Mujir, especially tonight and tomorrow. And even if you just listen to it and you go through some of the Asma al-Husna, they're just amazing. I went through some of them yesterday. I just want to go through a few of the stuffs that you need to look up. So if you look at Surah number 7, Ayah 180, Allah says, وَلِلَّهِ الْأَسْمَاءُ الْحُسْنَى فَادْعُوهُ بِهَا. And for him belong the most awesome names or the awesome attributes. Call him by them. My question is, how am I going to call him by them if I don't know them? I remember this little girl at workshop, and she came up to us. She must have been about 5. And she said, oh, my auntie, I'm going to Jannah. So, oh, my goodness. You know, with that confidence that a child has. Nobody else has that confidence. I said, that's really cute. You're allowed to take 10 people. Can I be one of them? It wasn't an immediate yes. It was mom, dad, you know. And then she went like that. And I said, still 2 more places. Can I be there? And she said, yeah, maybe. And I'm thinking, okay. And I said, you know what? If you teach me how you are so sure that you're going to go to Jannah, maybe I can take 10 people as well. And she said, easy, you gave the book. And I thought, oh, okay, what book? So at the presentation, we'd given them a book on Asma al-Husna. And at the back was a hadith of the Prophet which said, whosoever knows these names. In fact, the hadith said that Allah's names are 100 less 1. I'm reading verbatim. Anybody who memorizes them, internalizes them, will definitely go to Jannah. She said, I know all 99. So I had to put a little curved ball. And I said, do you know the meanings? And she said, oops. But true to life, 3 months later, she came back and she knew the meaning of each one. Every single one. So I'm going to ask you, and we talked about it. What is the meaning of al-mateen? That means you didn't listen to me yesterday. So I'm going to start you off with 3 names that you need to remember. Rahman, Rahim, and Ra'uf. 3 R's. You can't forget them. Rahman, incredibly, immediately merciful. Rahim, merciful to those who subscribe to him, who submit to him. Ra'uf, the only one who understands how you feel. Okay, so there's a lot of names here. Inshallah, you will look at them. And one of the things I mentioned to you was the musabbihat. Do you remember when you did Suratul Jumu'ah, we talked about musabbihat? One of the musabbihat is Suratul A'la. Sabbihisma rabbikal a'ala. Sabbihi, I declare the perfection of he who is the most high, of my Rabb who is the most high. So learn those names. Look, there's 99, okay? I know Josh and Kabir is 1,000. I'm not even going there yet. I'm just going with the 99. How many weeks in a year? 52, am I right? Have I got it right? Okay. 52 years. 52 times 2 is what? 104. So you get a few weeks off. But if you learned 2 names a week, by next Ramadan, you should know all the Asma al-Husna. And inshallah, by next Ramadan, if God gives us life, we should have finished the Asma al-Husna project that we're doing, and our topic will be Asma al-Husna, if that's okay. All right? But as far as I'm concerned, the only way you can do it is if you know all of them. Are you good with that? So you know 3 R's. What were they? Rahman, Rahim, Rauf. Sorry, I'm so used to kids, okay? So you know Rahman, you know Rahim, and you know Rauf. And from Dua al-Mujir, just pick some out. They're just phenomenal. Okay, so we go to Laylatul Qadr. I'm not doing Suratul Qadr today, inshallah tomorrow. I've only got a few minutes left. So I asked you for your aspirations. On the screen you will see, you really need 2 lists. The first list is your aspiration for the year, which was your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. My father used to make us write them down and then put them away and not look at them until the next year. And then he would say, look at how many you have worked towards. I remember as a child, I wanted to learn how to ride a bike. In fact, I wanted a bike. And he would say, pray that all the children of the world get a bike and then you'll get yours. And I'm thinking, how many kids does that mean, right? I did get bikes, but I still haven't learned how to ride one, although one of the moms did tell me about these places that I had to go, maybe inshallah one day. So it will come. It will come. Okay, but write down your aspirations. I now don't want to ride a bike because I don't want to fall over. I'll probably get one of those tricycles. Have you seen them? They're so cute with the little basket in front. I mean, that's what I'm doing, okay? I'm not falling over. Don't look at me there, Zara. You're going to see me going past your house. Okay, so aspirations for the year. Then you've got to write down those things in your life that you want to disentangle away from. That which is bringing you down. It could be anything. It could be a person. It could be, and you say salam, kalam. Don't say salam. It could be a habit you have. It could be absolutely anything, but you need to write it down. I'll show you in the next slide what I mean by that. So by now you've got a mission statement, you've got your clear goals, and you've got the list of issues that keep you back. Next slide. So what we've created is one of these. I love these. This is what I use, and I use it all the time. This is my sort of arida, okay? So if you look at my arida, I've got a set of numbers. Can you see 51, 114, 99, and 14? For me, the aspiration is to be able to pray 51 rakats a day, which is all the nafilas on time. That's my aspiration, okay? There's an aspiration of knowing all the 114 surahs of the Quran. The 99 is the Asma'ul Husna. And the 14 is the 14 Masumi. You can add other numbers there. You could put what weight you want to be. I didn't put it there, okay? I didn't put mine there just in case you knew. So you could put your weight there, or you want to lose weight or gain weight. I don't know. You could put a number that you want in your bank account. I don't know, okay? It's up to you. But at least if those numbers are on your musalla, that stays on my musalla, by the way, right? There's another aspiration. If you look there, it says, Hubbul Hussein Ajunnani. I want to be known as a Husseini. So what do I do? So that's Hubbul Hussein Ajunnani means the love of Hussein has made me crazy. I love this verse, absolutely love it. And that is why I refuse, and I don't know, they probably won't do this after me, but I refuse to move workshop anywhere away from here, because I think when the children learn on here, there is something about it. It makes a difference, okay? But that's me. Then I've got M14, okay? Then you've got Ali. Then I've got GPS and the Quran. I want the Quran to be my GPS. God Positioning System. You know what GPS stands for? You do know it. Global Positioning System. To me, you need the Quran as your God Positioning System. And then I've got these 3 crosses. 3 things in my life I need to take out. And the way I do it is by reading dua number 7 of Sahifatul Sajadiyah. Look it up. It's beautiful. You don't have to tell anyone. You can write it in your own code. It doesn't matter. It could be a person, it could be a thing, it could be whatever you want, okay? And I love the hadith of Imam Ali when he says, when Allah inspires your tongue to ask, know that He wants to give. Otherwise, you wouldn't ask Him. And then if you look at the side, I've got ayat of the Quran. You can probably, we'll try and get these for you. You can see them on the website. You can take a picture and you can go through the ayat. I don't have time. Maybe tomorrow we will go through this and we will go through Suratul Qadr. Are you good with that? Okay, and I'll go through that. And if you are through the ayat of Quran, it's absolutely phenomenal. Okay? So I'm hoping on Laylatul Qadr you will have that and you'll have a time management sheet, which we'll show you maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday? Wednesday? Oh my goodness, Thursday. Okay, we've got 2 more days. All right, we'll sort it out. Let's read Surah Al-Fatiha. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim. Sirata alladhina an'amta alayhim. Ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Sadaqallahu al-azim. Can we please recite Surah Al-Fatiha for all the marhumeen? I talked about Nargis Bhai Pradhan. She'll be buried tomorrow. Please remember her in your du'as. Remember those who are ill and those who are in trouble. My friend tells me that I cannot start ziyarah without reciting Li Khamsatun like we do in workshop. So I'll recite it twice. Li Khamsatun utfi biha harra al-waba'il hatima al-Mustafa wal-Murtada wa abnahuma wal-Fatima. Li Khamsatun utfi biha harra al-waba'il hatima al-Mustafa والمرتضى وأبناهما والفاطمة. Can we stand for ziyarah, please? السلام عليك يا رسول الله. السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدة النساء العالمين. السلام عليك يا خديجة الكبرى أم المؤمنين. السلام عليك يا حسن المجتبى. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي هلت بفنائك. عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين وعلى 9 المعصومين من ذريتك علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والحجة بن الحسن أجل الله فرجه وسهل الله مخرجه وظهورك. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. اللهم كل وليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل الساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك توعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. جزاكم الله خير. We have to empty the hall by 5:40. You've got about 7 minutes.